So what's going on guys, Kid here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the highest DPS Dark Wizard build in Hogwarts Legacy. So in this guide I will show you what spells and gear you want to get. Then I will explain what are the best talents, gear upgrades and traits to use for early and endgame content. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay and even which stats you need to prioritize when leveling, so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get straight into it. So then moving over to the build, and this whole setup is made by using all three forbidden curses called Crucio, Imperio and of course Avada Kedavra. This build's main objective is to buff up your curse effects, so then we can constantly curse enemies and deal as much damage as possible. So that's why we will be using the talents like the First Blood, to make one of our curse spells hit and curse all enemies in AoE range. And then we will be using other talents and traits, like the Enduring Curse and Curse Sapper, so we could extend the duration of our spells, and then after each elimination we will get health per kill and much more. I like to call this setup as the Dark Wizard build, because our main damage will come from the forbidden spells and other bonuses that will buff our ability to use dark magic. So if you're looking for the highest damage build in the game, then this is the one for you. So then with that said, let's move over to the talents. And as you get one talent per each level, so expect to max most of your talent tree to more than 50%. But for the first 10 to 15 levels, each point matters. So then first of all, we want to spend 3 points in the core category. And we want to unlock the spell knowledge 1 and 2, and then the swift move as well. Then let's move over to the dark arts, and we want to fully max this whole thing out. And then lastly, we want to open up the spells category and unlock the Defendo Mastery, then the Incendio Mastery, and then lastly the Confringo Mastery. As I said at the start, Hogwarts Legacy doesn't have the same talent system like in other games, so I recommend to first of all use the only talents that I told you to unlock first, but then when you get higher level, then you can spend your points in whatever order you like. So then let's move over to the gear, and in this game the gear stats are very basic. So we have our health, defense and offense, and then in total we have 6 gear pieces. So we get gloves, facewear, hats, scarves, cloaks and outfit. Each one of these items will increase one of your stats, and all that you have to do is after each few quests keep checking your inventory and use the gear that has this green arrow, or then sell it if it has a red arrow. The gear that you use doesn't really matter besides the upgrades and traits that you can enchant the gear with. So we upgrade our gear by using the loom in our room of requirement, and we can only upgrade gear that is either way blue, purple or orange, aka legendary. The more you will play the game, the better equipment you will get, but basically all you want to do is come to this loom and constantly upgrade your gear. And each gear can be upgraded 3 times by pressing the upgrade button and then use one of the feathers or other materials. Upgrading your equipment will just simply increase its stats, and you can get the feathers and other materials to upgrade your gear with from the shops and beasts that you have in your vivarium. What I usually do is after playing the game for about 30 minutes, I teleport back to the room of requirement, and then I brush and feed all of my pets, and that will give me materials which then I can use to upgrade my gear. So in a quick summary, you want to do this constantly to all of your gear pieces. And then lastly, while we are talking about gear, the last way that we can improve our stats is by using the trait mechanic. So what we can do is click on the loom, but this time click on the view trait. And here you can see all the bonuses that you can put on your gear. Every high level has one slot in which you can put one level 1 trait, then one level 2 trait, or then one level 3 trait. Again, the same as with upgrading your gear, you will use feathers and other materials that you gather from your beasts. But on top of all of this time you will need to spend extra time and discover the traits that you want to use. So some traits will offer defensive abilities, while others will buff up your damage on attack. You can obtain traits by collecting the trait recipes from the bandit camps. You have to look for this camp icon in the world to find one. So then with that said, when you start getting your traits on your gear, you only want to use the cruelty, manipulation, unforgivable and concentration trait. And of course you will start with level 1 traits, but the more you will play, the better traits you will unlock. So then at the end you will want all of your gear with the traits that I previously mentioned, but all at level 3. So then let's move over to our spells, and in general this build will be using 8 spells, so 2 sets of 4 spell presets. And if you did not know by now, then by using your first talent point in the Spell Knowledge 1, you can unlock additional 4 spell presets and much more. So for the first spell we have the Crucio. This ability will cause enemies to take damage over time, and this curse can curse multiple enemies at once. Then the second spell is called Flipendo. This ability will flip enemies upwards and backwards, making them vulnerable for a short period. And this skill has very low cooldowns, so it's perfect for any type of monster. Then the third spell is called Imperio. This ability will force enemies to fight as if they were your friend. While under our control, they can curse other enemies as well. So this skill is great to use on one of the monsters and then leave him alone, so he could help us with destroying his friends. Then the fourth spell is the one and only Avada Kedavra. The skill is very simple. On whoever you use it, he will get one-shotted and die instantly. Yes, the spell is very OP but has a long cooldown, so especially in quests you wanna only use the spell on the strongest enemies. Then for the next one we have the Incendio, and this skill will shoot a quick burst of fire. While the range is short, all enemies hit with the fire will take burning damage constantly. Then for the next one we have the Defendo spell. This skill will slash enemies from afar, doing a lot of damage. Then for one of the last spells we have the Axio. This skill will summon or basically pull enemies or objects closer. This is another good ability that won't do any damage, but is very useful to break enemy casting or just use it in completing all the puzzle quests in the game. And then lastly we will be using the Confringo. This is a long range bolt that deals damage on impact. Enemies hit with the fire attack will continue to take damage for few seconds, and during that time collisions will result in incendiary burst, which will do even more damage. So overall this build's main strategy is to utilize all the forbidden curses and buff all the damage over time as much as we can. And by the way, just for a quick information, you can unlock all 3 forbidden spells when you reach about level 25 and have completed all 3 Sebastian Salo forbidden spell quests. Then as well, as you can see, we can unlock the 3rd spell preset and even the 4th one, but in my opinion 2 presets are plenty enough for combat, and by the time we use all 8 spells, the first ones are ready to be used again. So then lastly, for our essential combat spells, like most of us already know, we have the basic cast, which by pressing a left click will do a simple basic attack. Then your Q spell is called Protego, which is your basic defense spell, and if you get hit while holding it, then not only you will take no damage, but you can stun the enemy as well. Then the next skill is called the Ancient Throw, which you can use if you're fighting enemies in places with small rocks or objects. Well, this will allow you to throw these rocks and objects at your target. And then our last combat essential spell is called the Ancient Magic, which is basically like your ultimate ability. So by eliminating monsters you can collect their essence, which then if this bar reaches full, then you can press your X on enemies and do your ultimate ability, which will do very high damage. Then another way that we can boost up our damage is by using potions. So for most of the leveling, with this build you can easily defeat every single enemy. But just in case at the very end game if you really need more buffs, then I recommend to use the Maxima potion. All the other potions are not that good, and mostly we should not worry about taking damage because as long as we dodge and block, getting to low HP should not be a problem. But then on the other hand, we always could use more DPS. So to increase your damage, use the Maxima potion or one of the combat plants. All plants are really good, but I personally like the Chomping Cabbage because it is very cheap and easy to get, and it does a lot of damage to multiple enemies at once. So then with all of this said, let's move over to the gameplay where I will show you the best spell rotation. So most of the spells are very self-explanatory, but just in case, here's the spell combos and rotations that you wanna use. So we wanna start the fight with the Flipendo spell, then afterwards we use the Crucio, and then we can finish the enemy with the Defendo or Confringo. Then another combo is to first of all on the strongest enemy use the Imperio spell, which will make him attack his friend. So then on the other enemies we can use Axio and then finish it off with the Incendio. And then lastly, of course, on whoever enemy you wanna just one shot, then use the Avada Kedavra, and that's it. What I usually do is combine all of these 3 combos in one rotation. So I usually use the Imperio on one random enemy, and then switch to the next one, and then use Flipendo, then Crucio, then Incendio, then Axio, and then finish it off with the Defendo or Confringo. And then lastly, I always save my Avada Kedavra spell for elite monsters. But if I know that I won't be fighting any hard enemies, then I just simply find a random enemy with full HP, and then just one-shot him to make the spell go back on the cooldown. And of course, by default you want to keep on using the dodge or Q to escape enemy attacks, and then as well keep on left clicking for basic attacks, and that's about it. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Hogwarts Legacy guides that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content from me. With all this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.